From Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach, California, MDTV proudly presents Mater Dei Monarch basketball. Tonight, the quarterfinals of Division 1A as the Mater Dei Monarchs take on the Raiders of Rowland High School. Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul Westfall, and this is Mater Dei Monarch basketball. Tonight, we've reached the round of 8 as the Monarchs go after another CIF Southern Section crown. Mater Dei has won 29 games in a row. They're the top seed in Division 1A, and they've arrived at this quarterfinal with 2 devastating wins over Santa Ana and Cajon. Rowland, meanwhile, is the number 3 seed out of the Sierra League, and Rowland is a very good team on a roll as they've had 2 impressive wins to reach the quarterfinals. I'd like to take a moment to introduce my partner for tonight's action, Coach Phil Bellamo. And Coach, it's a loud and raucous crowd here tonight, and I think they're going to see a good game. Mater Dei has been led in the playoffs by the inspired play of center Mike Vukovic.
Yeah, you know, Mike obviously hampered with injuries throughout the season, but started to really turn the corner toward the latter part of the league. And in the playoffs, he's really stepped up, averaging 22.5 points, 12 rebounds a game in their 2 playoff games, and that just changes everything insofar as how you're going to defend Mater Dei. Now, obviously, you got to think more about covering down on the inside, and that only opens up things for the outside guys.
In the Rowland Raiders, we have a very deceptive team here tonight. They're 17-8, and so you think, well, gee, Mater Dei should roll over Rowland, but they come from a very tough league. They come from the Sierra League, and Phil, that league has had great success in the playoffs.
Yeah, don't be fooled by their number 3 seeding coming out of that league. You know, ironically, 4 teams make the playoffs, and ironically, the team that's not here or still alive is the team that most people thought would play Mater Dei in the latter part of the 1A playoffs, and that's Nogales. So what that says to me is that night in and night out, because they're playing the Ayalas, the West Covinas, and I'm drawing a blank here. Nogales, thank you. While they're playing those 3 teams night in and night out, we have a situation where this team is obviously well seasoned against decent competition.
For the Raiders, they have 2 outstanding players in 6'6" guard Tony Scott and Chris Castaneda. And Phil, these 2 players may cause considerable matchup difficulties for Mater Dei.
No question. First of all, with Tony Scott, you have a 6'5" point guard, which you don't see even 6'6" as they list him, and you don't see that very much on the high school level. So now Mater Dei has to think about who's going to play him. I think they'll start with Castleton, but even with David guarding him, that kind of changes your effectiveness of your double teams on the perimeter because he can see over the double team and get the ball inside. With Castaneda, that's a different situation, but obviously something Mater Dei has to pay attention to. He's a post-up player, a front court guy, but he can step out and shoot the 3. So now the question becomes, does Vukovic guard him or does Brad Williams guard him? I think we're going to see Brad Williams start on him, but obviously Brad's going to have to get his feet moving early because he's going to find himself maybe 20, 22 feet away from the basket.
And then we haven't even mentioned their outstanding center. That would be 6'5", 245-pound low-post player Terrence Moore, who leads the team in scoring, averaging 17 points per game. This should be a tremendous matchup in the round of 8. The winner goes to the semifinals Tuesday night. We're just about ready for the announcing of the starting lineups and the opening tip-off in front of a huge crowd here at Ocean View High School. It's Mater Dei and Rowland when we come back right after this.
If anyone ever tells you that your thoughts aren't important, or that you're wasting your time, and if they tell you that you'll never make it, or that you dream too much, if anyone ever tells you you're too much anything, or not enough anything, well, what they think means nothing. A message from the U.S. Navy, where we believe the only way to grow is to rise to the challenge.
Back at Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach, California. Paul Westfall and Phil Bellamo, glad you could be with us. We've had the Rowland Raiders introduced, and now it's time for the announcing of the starting lineups for the Mater Dei Monarchs. Let me take a moment to let the gentleman in the truck know we're having a little bit of sound difficulties here at the table, but we'll just go right through it. Brad Williams will open up for the Monarchs. Double zero, a 6'6", 265-pound senior. David Castleton, number 3, a 6', 285-pound junior. At the other forward, number 24, Tom Lippold, a 6'6", 185-pound junior. And the big man in the middle, Mike Vukovic, number 40, 6', 9.5-inch junior, 220 pounds. And rounding out the starting 5 for the Monarchs, the man that makes the engine run, that's Kevin Augustine, number 10, 6', 150-pound junior guard, the team's leading scorer. The Monarchs are, of course, coached by Gary McKnight in his 14th season with an overall record of 417 victories and only 31 defeats. Mater Dei arrived at this quarterfinal with 2 wins, 70-40 over Santa Ana in the first round and 70-53 against Cajon in the second round. Rowland, meanwhile, has defeated Chino 77-70 in round 1, and then they defeated Country Canyon 70-63 in round number 2. Rowland has played one county team. They played San Clemente and lost in the semifinals of the Nogales tourney back in December, 64-58 to San Clemente, which the Tritons are still playing as well. Tonight they're still involved in the quarterfinals of Division II AA. Mater Dei in their home white uniforms with a red trim, and Rowland in their road blue uniforms with the yellow trim. For Rowland, it's Scott, DeRamos, Castaneda, Najarro, and Moore. Ball goes out of bounds, and it'll be Mater Dei basketball. Phil will try to get through this audio difficulty problem. Let's see if we can hear Phil Bellamo and your reaction.
Oh, I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but we're underway, and that's the most important thing.
For the Monarchs, it's Lippold. Tom might have got away with a walk. Has the possession. Our officials are Bill Agopian and Virgil Sanders.
Mismatch inside. Oh, they got back and switched it.
There's a steal by DeRamos. And it's tipped in by Tony Scott. The game's first basket goes to the Rowland Raiders. It's 2-0.
Rowland likes to get out and run, and that obviously plays right into their hands where they can get a turnover, get a steal, and get out and go in transition.
It's Williams way out on top. Brad with the left hand. Augustine. Pass inside is denied, tipped away. Williams going strong to the glass, lays it up and in.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and right there Brad Williams kind of just had, it was the old look what I found, and gets a quick little layup.
We're tied at 2. We've played about a minute here from Ocean View High School. That's DeRamos. Scott.
We talked about Tony Scott's size.
Najarro knocks down a 2.
We talked about Tony Scott's size, and don't be surprised as a point guard, him giving it up and then going down to the post as we saw there.
Vukovic out about 19 feet, pulls up from 18, got it.
And both teams coming out, airing it out a little bit and showing a little bit of efficiency with their shooting.
Pass is denied, good play by the fronting Vukovic, and here comes Mater Dei, but Rowland gets back quickly on defense. Nice dish to Williams. That should have been a goaltend. The crowd, the Mater Dei crowd, up in arms along with the coaching staff. Williams from 16, no good, and the rebound is corralled by Castaneda. McKnight still upset about the non-call on the goaltend. Obvious goaltending violation against Rowland, but the play went unnoticed, and here's a steal by Williams.
And that's 2 steals right there Mater Dei has gotten on the same play.
Lippold is fouled by Castaneda, first foul of the game.
And Paul, that pass isn't going to get in. I mean, that pass is not going to be successful. Mater Dei's got good front side coverage on the post. They're coming from behind with good help side defense. You're throwing the pass into a double team, and obviously 0 for 2 so far for Rowland with their turnovers.
Tom Lippold, one of the team's better foul shooters, goes to the line. Tommy is an 85% free throw shooter.
Take a look at Tommy inside here. Draws the foul. And I didn't say anything about it being as good as 2 points until after the fact.
It's a 6-4 Mater Dei lead. We've played 2.5 minutes. So far, Rowland playing with a great deal of confidence. They don't look intimidated by the Mater Dei reputation at all. This is Scott. DeRamos has to save it. Castleton out, jumped by Scott, who pulls up from 17. No good. Battle for the rebound, and it's Williams who corrals it for Mater Dei. Castleton thought about the three, now lobs inside. Vukovic, skip pass to Augustine. Kevin with the quick dribble drive, snuffed out of there by Moore. 2-on-1 the other way for the Raiders. DeRamos, fade away, good.
And maybe a foul there by David Castleton on the bump. Mater Dei maybe comes away lucky.
It's a 6-6 tie. And so far, Terrence Moore has been very impressive defensively. It's going to be a challenge to come inside tonight for Mater Dei. Castleton, head and shoulder fake, now slashes to the hoop and is blocked. Lippold is blocked. Tommy forces it up and draws a foul. And I think Mater Dei is fortunate to get anything out of that possession.
Well, I think obviously Rowland has established themselves inside. Their presence with their block shots is definitely noticeable early on. And I think Mater Dei, more than anything else, has to gather themselves and say, okay, obviously they're quick to the ball. Let's give them a shot fake, maybe a second shot fake, get them off the ground. Let's see if we can get these big guys in foul trouble. The key is that Mater Dei doesn't stop going inside, because that's where all your high percentage shots come from.
Lippold hits again. Let's watch Lippold and his perseverance.
They got the initial block, but then the putback gets Tom into the line.
He makes them both to give Mater Dei an 8-6 lead. 4 for 4 for Lippold. We're halfway through quarter number 1 of this quarterfinal matchup in Division 1A. Scott on the drive, kicks it back out. Castaneda from about 23 off the back rim, and it's Augustine above everybody to get the rebound. It's 3-on-2. Augustine all the way. Blocked by Scott. And Lippold forces it back up and draws another foul. Fouls on Castaneda is his second.
Well, the conventional thing to do defensively there when you're in transition defense is to stop the ball as high as possible. Don't let him get into the the attacking area. But right there with Rowland, I have them unofficially with 5 block shots already. With Rowland's presence of blocking shots, maybe they don't have to stop the ball so high. There you see Kevin gets all the way in. I mean, he's basically 2-3 feet away from the basket. They challenge him. It's going to be interesting to see if they can maintain this block shot factor, so to speak, tonight.
It's 9-6. Mater Dei has the lead, but Rowland has really made him work for those 9 points. Inside pass to Moore, and he draws a foul on one of the Monarchs inside. That's the first time they've successfully got the ball to Moore in a position to shoot.
And Paul, keep an eye on Tony Scott, because he's obviously holding his hand right now, maybe his thumb. I didn't see where he might have, sustained the injury, but he obviously is favoring that. Take a look at him on the free throw lane, bent over and seems to be in somewhat pain.
Moore at the line. No good.
That time they were able to get the ball inside to Moore. Mater Dei's done a good job of preventing him from getting it with the double team. That time they were able to give it to him or get it to him, and he was able to draw the foul.
Second free throw barely draws iron, but it goes off a Mater Dei shoe, and it's out of bounds to Rowland. It's 9-6, 3:30 to play, and the clock is running for some strange reason, and the ball's out of bounds. The clock just ticked off 7, 8, 10 seconds. They're still running the clock. And we tried to point it out, but we lost 13 seconds there while the clock ran, while the ball was out of bounds. There's a three-pointer drilled by Josh Cintron just into the ball game. Cintron is a 5'11 senior, and he knocks down a three, and we're tied at 9.
And Mater Dei was scared of Cintron in that sense. They didn't want him to come off. He obviously comes off the bench to provide Rowland with a spark, and they don't want him to get it going early.
Brad Williams powers his way to the basket, and Vukovic is blocked by Moore on the putback.
No shot fake, Paul. No shot fake, and you're doomed against quick jumpers like that.
Rowland with a chance to take the lead. Number 33 and a traveling call going to be called on Daryl Pickett, a 6'1 junior just into the ball game for Coach Tim Surridge in his first year at the helm of the Raiders. Troy Harrell will be in for Mater Dei, replacing probably Lippold, I would think. Yes, Harrell comes in for Lippold. The two very similar in their ability to shoot from distance, but Tommy perhaps a little better rebounder than Harrell. 2:44 to play in a very interesting first quarter. 9-9 is the score, and the Monarchs have only the 2 baskets in nearly 6 minutes. Harrell for 3, no. Vukovic, put back, no. Williams, yes.
And I tell you, Paul, on Vukovic's putback, I thought Moore got a little fingertip on that, but a poor job of blocking out by Rowland leads to the putback by Brad Williams.
Monarchs up 11-9. Inside, back to Moore. Good position against Vukovic. Score the basket, and a foul is on Mike Vukovic.
And you see, now with them getting that single coverage inside, they're able to enter the ball. Mike Vukovic didn't get to the high side. He didn't get his palm in the passing lane. The ball was able to be entered from what is a very bad passing angle from the top into the low post, but he's able to catch the ball, drop step, draws the foul.
Jason Ballas into the game for the first time, replacing Brad Williams. And Moore goes back to the foul line, where he hits his first free throw after missing his first 2. That's the first point for the big guy, and it's a 12-11 Rowland lead. Augustine from 17. Got it. Kevin's so good off the dribble, and his ability to pull up and shoot that jumper, a near steal by Vallis.
And what you had there with Kevin was isolation, 18 to 20 feet away from the basket, the quick little swing dribble, crossover in front, froze the defender, got cushion, and pulled up and hit the shot.
There's a shot put up no good by DeRamos, but it's Moore. The stick back is no good, and Jason Vallis with good boxing out has the rebound for the Monarchs. It's Harrell. Harrell waves everybody away and then shot it wide. Harrell gets it back and misses again, and Troy looks like he's forcing things a little bit. Here comes Rowland with a chance to take the lead. Offensive foul. Augustine draws the foul against number 33, Pickett.
That's a big-time defensive play. I mean, Kevin went from literally, not in any type of position to play defense to drawing the foul. I mean, Rowland, if you're from the Rowland side, you're saying, hey, transition opportunity, high percentage shot, here it comes, a chance to recapture the lead. Oh, it's a turnover. I mean, great play by Kevin Augustine.
Minute and 14 left. Augustine with the stutter step, fade, miss, rebound, Moore, length of the court pass. He's got Pickett, but Pickett couldn't convert, and Castleton recovers. He's double teamed and gets it to Augustine, getting a little frantic here in the last minute of play in the first half. 56 seconds and the clock is moving. Lippold back into the game for the Monarchs, replacing Harrell, who went 0 for 3 in his brief stint. Lippold, Castleton gets a pick from Vallis, pulls up from 17, short, but Vallis has got the rebound and is fouled.
And as much as you have to be impressed with Rowland's shot blocking ability, you have to be unimpressed with their blocking out ability. They're making spectacular plays, and obviously it's helping them hang around tonight, but the plays that they should be making, where all they have to do is lay a body, they've got good inside position where all they have to do is lay a body on the Mater Dei player, they're not making that play, and that's the thing that while it doesn't gain a lot of hooting and hollering from the fans. You have to make that if you're going to make those plays if you're going to beat Mater Dei.
Jason Vallis with a very fortunate bounce, and let's watch the replay, Phil.
Again, we're catching the latter part of the play. Easy play to call, just a rake job across the arm of Jason. But again, I can't emphasize enough, if Rowland does not block out, they've got serious problems.
It's 15-12 Mater Dei with a 3-point edge, and we're nearing the 30-second mark of the first quarter. This is Scott. Scott guarded by Vallis. That should be a little better matchup for Mater Dei with Vallis on Scott. The shot is no good on a force by Castaneda, and here come the Monarchs. It's Lippold from about 12. Nothing. Williams goes up and is blocked from behind. It's Scott with the block, and here comes Pickett with Scott ahead of him, and Castleton messed up the play. And the Mater Dei coaching staff is furious at the call of Virgil Sanders on the block by Castleton.
You know, Paul, from my vantage point, here's what I think happened. On the initial shot by Lippold, Brad Williams pushed. I think the referee realized he missed it, so it was kind of like, I give him one, I'll take another. And then we go in transition, so now that it's 1-1, so to speak, he gives the makeup, or he gives the call here to Rowland, and that obviously causes an eruption from the Mater Dei coaching corps.
Pickett hits the free throw. It's 15-13. We have 9 seconds to go in the first quarter. Paul Westphal and Phil Bellamo, glad you could be with us for what promises to be a pretty interesting contest here in the quarterfinals. Second free throw no good. Last chance for the Monarchs if they hurry. It's Augustine with 5. On the drive to the basket is fouled. He was tripped by one of the Raiders on his way to the basket. And Virgil Sanders has got a foul on 33 Pickett. That's Darrell Pickett's second foul, 6-team foul.
And the foul was called on the floor on the drive, so the ball will go out of bounds.
Three seconds left. We have a chance here for Mater Dei to get maybe one pass and a shot. It's Lippold for 3. No. And that will do it, ending an entertaining first quarter. Our score from Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach, California. At the end of one, it's the Mater Dei Monarchs 15 and the Rowland Raiders 13. We will be back with all the second quarter action right after this.
This vehicle can take you to places no other vehicle can. To strange worlds and even stranger life forms. To the silicon landscapes of tomorrow's supercomputers. This incredible vehicle can take you as far as your ability and imagination will allow. But only if you don't bail out. So stay in school. This message was brought to you by the United States Air Force.
Welcome back to Ocean View High School. Paul Westphal and Phil Bellamo, glad you could be with us. We said in the open that the 17-8 record of the Rowland Raiders was a bit of a misnomer because this is a talented team from a very tough league, and so far they've given the Monarchs fits in the first period. Mater Dei leading by just a pair, 15-13 for Mater Dei. Tom Lippold, 5 of 6 from the foul line, leads the Monarchs in scoring with 5. Brad Williams has 4 on a couple of putbacks. And for Rowland, 3 points for Josh Cintron, and then 2 points for a host of other players. And so it's Rowland with the basketball, trailing by 2. It's Scott, Cintron, Moore, and we got a clock problem, and now the clock didn't run. Maybe they're trying to make up that 13 seconds, Phil, that they lost in the first quarter. Now he's admonishing the clock operator. It's like, I really don't think it's the clock operator's difficulty. Probably a mechanical malfunction, but they'll sort it all out. And Phil, you noticed at the beginning of the game that Mater Dei coaching staff wasn't particularly happy with a couple calls.
Well, I think what lit their fire, Paul, was the goaltending call, or the lack thereof, that really kind of set them off. And once Gary's had the match lit, it doesn't take much to get it close to the dynamite.
Started by Vallis, and Scott has not had his way quite as easily with the matchup change when Jason Vallis came in. That's Castaneda with a basket. That's his first bucket of the ball game for the second leading scorer on the team. He came in averaging 16.
And a nice play by Castaneda. Dumped it into the post, made a quick cut to the basket. Modern Day player looked at the post. He slipped by him, got the high percentage shot.
Vallis passed through the lane to Lippold, and his shot is rejected by Moore. It's Vallis. Mater Dei continuing to try to score inside the paint, but Moore has been very tough to handle. Rebound Lippold, can't stick it back in there. Rebound Castaneda. We got players all over the court. Both Scott and Williams get up, and that's good to see because that was a hard fall by both players. And now it's Williams who just absolutely shuts off that drive to the basket. Scott thought he had a lane fill, and it was just it was just closed.
Yeah, I think that Brad was also aided by the fact that it looked like Tony lost his balance there and slipped. But good play by Brad in the sense that he was on his seat down the other end of the floor and was able to get back up and get into the play.
Steal by Rowland, and the basket is made by Cintron. He's got 5, and it's a 2-point lead for Rowland. It's 17-15 Raiders.
Jason Vallis, keep your arms down, boy. He's going to pick up a silly foul if he's not careful here.
There's a foul underneath on one of the Raiders, and we'll see who Bill Agopian's got the call. Foul's going to be on number 4. That's Tony Scott. That's Scott's first foul.
And you know, early on when I met with Dave Taylor to talk a little bit about this Rowland team this afternoon, he alluded to the fact that, you know, one of the things that he was hoping would come back and haunt Rowland, so to speak, was their maybe lack of depth. But they've run some players in and out, kept some people fresh. Tony Scott got a good rest out of the game in the latter parts of the first quarter. And so far, that's been something that Mater Dei hasn't, or maybe will not be able to capitalize on. Here's Brad Williams inside. The power.
This is as determined a look as I've seen Brad Williams have on his face since football, and he looks like he's ready for some physical play tonight. Castleton misses a 3. Scott with the rebound. Pickett from 14. In and out. Moore with the rebound. Sticks it in the basket. Foul from behind, I think, is going to be on Vukovic, and if it is on Mike, that's his second, and it is. Moore will go back to the free throw line. That's his first basket. Terrence has 3 points on the ball game, but now it's a 4-point Rowland lead.
Well, Mater Dei is going to have to figure out Terrence Moore somehow, some way. I mean, his presence has been felt at both ends of the floor, and perhaps the most effective way Mater Dei can compensate on Moore is to send him to the line.
Just 1 of 4 for Moore from the free throw line. It's still a 4-point Raider lead. We've got 6 minutes to go here in quarter number 2.
They switch the high post screen roll.
Augustine can't get the roll. Lippold is knocked loose from the basketball, and it's out of bounds.
But again, Paul, I think Rowland has played just a wonderful, first, 11 minutes of basketball, but they have just not blocked out, and that will come back to haunt them second half time.
Nice head and shoulder fake, and a 16-footer is drilled by Ronnie Navarro. He's got 4. It's a 6-point Rowland lead.
And great composure. Defense flies out at Navarro. Good head and shoulder fake, puts it on the floor for a 1-bounce dribble, hits the jump shot.
Mater Dei needs somebody to hit a jumper from some kind of distance. We got an offensive foul on Castleton. Second foul on David.
And Gary might need a timeout, just to kind of stem the tide here a little bit, gather his guys.
And you're right, Phil Bellamo. Gary McKnight would like a timeout. 5:16 to play in quarter number 2, our score. It's the Rowland Raiders 21 and the Mater Dei Monarchs 15. You are watching the defending state champion Mater Dei Monarchs on MDTV. Phil will keep it here. Mater Dei offense, absolutely nothing here. Nearly 3 minutes in the second quarter. Inside, it's just not going to be easy tonight with Moore inside. It seems like every time that they try to get a shot away, it's contested. And so far, the outside shooting's just not been there.
Yeah, but again, I still think Rowland swarms the ball. So when you still have to continue to establish the low post, throw the ball in there and see if you can just maintain your composure, let the double team materialize, and kick it out. If you find yourself in one-on-one situations, well, you certainly can't just catch the ball, turn and shoot. You have to shot fake. And what I always told our guys, you know, when we went up against quick jumpers was, guys, the first shot fake won't get him, but the second shot fake will. So you have to have the composure of giving multiple shot fakes, and hopefully Mater Dei can make that adjustment.
There's a good look at Tony Scott. Scott listed as a 6'6", 210-pound senior. And that is a matchup difficulty at the point guard.
This is an 8-0 run for Rowland.
This is Naharo. Pickett. Number 22 is Sintron. Scott.
And this is interesting if they're going to take the air out of the ball here and spread the floor, because they have momentum. And when you play like this, you defeat that momentum a little bit.
Plus, it seems to me in all the high school basketball games I've seen that very few teams are able to do this for very long before they turn it over.
Paul, on any level, right? If I were sitting on the Mater Dei coaching bench right now, I would be ecstatic that they're playing like this. 21 points isn't going to beat Mater Dei tonight.
They tried to give and go with Moore, and Lippold came from behind and swiped it away, but couldn't control it. Now there's a man open, and it's Pickett for three. Airmail. Missed everything, and here comes Augustine with a little bit of pressure in the backcourt, so he'll back it up, and Mater Dei will walk it up. But that possession was about 1 minute and 10 seconds for Rowland. Vukovic is denied by Moore. For 6'6" and 245, Moore's got very quick feet.
No question, right there he showed it by getting around on the high side and causing the deflection. Then again, if he doesn't make that play, it's a dunk for Vukovic.
Castleton with the basketball. Mater Dei has played 4 minutes of the second quarter, and they're pitching a shutout. Augustine, great to the basket. Offensive foul on Kevin Augustine. Tried to go up and under. First foul on Augustine. Sixth team foul on Mater Dei, non-shooting.
And Paul, I'll tell you, I'm getting dizzy. We're sitting obviously closer, right next to the Rowland bench, and the way these subs are flying in and out. Well, I tell you, I'm really surprised and rather impressed with their game plan early on.
Tim Surridge in his first year at the helm of the Rowland Raiders, obviously very well prepared for the Mater Dei Monarchs tonight. They pass inside to Moore. He'll be tough from there, but he misses. Castaneda gets the putback, stripped away, last touched by Mater Dei. .3:28 to play in quarter number 2. It's 21-15. Rowland with a lead. It was 15-13 Monarchs at the end of 1. Moore inside, goes to the basket with authority and scores. 5 for Terrence Moore. It's an 8-point Rowland lead.
Big trip here for Mater Dei. Big trip.
Augustine from 18, no. Rebound Castaneda, and the Monarchs can get very little accomplished here right now. Harrell knocks it out of bounds, but it'll be Rowland basketball.
And we're still real early on in the ball game, obviously, Paul, but this is it is a coach's worst nightmare in the sense that when you can't put points on the board, it's a helpless feeling, and Mater Dei has to be at least started wondering a little bit with the clock winding down.
One thing, the Monarchs have gotten no easy baskets in transition. There have been no direct turnovers that have resulted in a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 type situation. And that's a credit to Rowland, the way they've gotten back on defense.
Well, they haven't turned it over very much. They turned it over their first 2 times they possessed the ball, and I don't think they've turned it over many times since.
Vukovic to the cutting Harrell, gets it back to Mike, who goes behind his back in traffic, and that's not really a prudent thing to do. And here's De Ramos breaking free for another basket. It's a 10-point Rowland lead. Timeout, Mater Dei, 2:18 to go in the second quarter. Our score, it's Rowland 25 and Mater Dei 15. Augustine, you are watching the defending state champion, Mater Dei Monarchs, on MDTV. And we'll take a short break, and we'll be back right after this.
In a life-threatening emergency, you should know what to do. Say a loved one exhibits unusual symptoms. The first thing to do is...
Clear!
No. The first thing to do...
Oh! Tourniquet!
No! The first thing you do is pick up the phone and dial your emergency number.
Call 911 first.
Right.
How about mouth-to-mouth?
I don't think so. To learn more about life-saving techniques, contact your Red Cross.
We're back at Ocean View High School. Paul Westfall and Phil Bellamo, glad you could be with us. Mater Dei trailing by 10. 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Augustine on the drive. High arching shot rattles home for Augustine.
And that stops a 12-0 run. And I don't have it, Paul, and I probably should. When was the last time Mater Dei scored? They were on 15 for what seemed to be eternal
Probably
life.
an entire quarter's worth of basketball. No look pass stolen by Williams. Brad will hold it up and wait for a guard. Here's Harrell. Troy missed his first three, but if you're a shooter, you have to shoot it. Augustine on the drive, in traffic, dished it, got clobbered, goes up, foul. Foul will be on Scott. That'll be the second foul on Tony Scott, I believe. It was a collection of Raiders, but yes, Scott gets the foul. Augustine will go to the line to shoot 2 shots.
Something to kind of keep our eyes on as the game unwinds. 2 fouls early, or at least in the first half, for Tony Scott and Chris Castaneda.
Augustine's free throw misses. Kevin down to just 69% on the season. He has been erratic at the foul line the last half of this campaign, after one time being up about 80%.
And Mater Dei going small here. Front court of Vallis and Brad Williams, and playing with 3 wing players, with all of them somewhat diminutive.
Augustine hits 1 of 2. Kevin's got 5 points. It's a 7-point roll and lead, and the Monarchs going to put on a little press. It's Scott breaking the press. Now it's 3-on-1. Moore.
You know, Rowland is feeling good about themselves, Paul, but they have to be real careful to not start feeling too good about themselves and get, you know, where they start strutting their stuff a little bit too much, because that kind of behavior many times comes back to haunt you.
Augustine knocks down what looks like a 3. Yes, late call by the officials, but it's 3 for Augustine. It's 27-21, but the Monarch offense, at least, Kevin Augustine's offense, beginning to hold up. Harrell gets elbowed by Moore, and the ball comes outside. Pass to Moore on the high post. He kicks it out to Scott, who goes to the basket. Offensive foul. Third foul on Tony Scott. Excellent play by Troy Harrell to draw the charge.
With Mater Dei's defense, what you have is, because of the way their size, or lack of size, Troy Harrell found himself playing down low on the baseline and found himself having to defend the Moores, the Tony Scotts, that sort of thing. Caught a vicious elbow, but came away with Mater Dei gaining possession from the turnover.
45 seconds to go in the period. Augustine double teamed out on top. Goes with the dribble. Brad Williams from 15. No, Vukovic battling, and Moore comes away with it. They fly on the break, and it's Castaneda who doesn't get the finish, but gets it back and is on the baseline. A big break for Mater Dei as Castaneda missed an easy one and then was stepping on the baseline.
Well, Rowland loves to go. They love to go in transition, and they have exposed Mater Dei a little bit out of that defensive rebounding situation where they have released 1 and 2 players. Mater Dei has to get back with a little bit greater, in a little bit greater numbers.
Augustine shoots an air ball for 3.
Here we go.
13 seconds left. No look pass to Castaneda, who scored. 8 seconds. Mater Dei's got to hurry. They've got 6. They can get something if they hurry. It's Augustine with 2, 1. No. The shot was late. Coach McKnight is furious. They're discussing the play. Virgil Sanders and Bill Agopian are discussing the play. And now we'll get it. Bill Agopian's coming over to the scorer's table. He wants to see his partner, Virgil Sanders. There's quite a bit of controversy.
Well, the question becomes, whose call is it?
Agopian says he thinks it counts. And it does. Bill Agopian overrules Virgil Sanders, and the score will count for Augustine to end the first half. That is the end, a controversial end to a wild first half of basketball. Our score from Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach, California. It's the Rowland Raiders 29 and the Mater Dei Monarchs 23. I'll be back with Phil Bellamo to discuss all of this when we come back right after this. High School, Paul Westfall and Phil Bellamo, glad you could be with us. We're at halftime where the Mater Dei Monarchs trail the Raiders from Rowland High School 29-23. For the Monarchs, Kevin Augustine has 10 points, but other than Tom Lippold's 5 free throws, nobody for the Monarchs with more than 4 points. In fact, Phil Bellamo, Mike Vukovic with only 2 points.
Yeah, you know, talk about him at the top of the show, how he's really, you know, made his presence felt. He's going to have to definitely turn things around in the second half. You know, the other thing is Mater Dei's shooting, what I can see right now on the score sheet, I took a quick glance at it, 24-25%. You turn that into, or converse that with Rowland's 52%, and a lot of things are going to have to change on paper for Mater Dei.
For Rowland, Moore has 9 points and has been a devastating force inside. Castaneda has 4, Tony Scott with only 2. So you'd have to think, Phil, if you hold Castaneda and Scott to 6 points between them, you'd feel pretty good about things. But Moore has been impressive.
You know, they have 8 block shots as a team. He's obviously, the presence is felt from him inside. But they've capitalized in all the major statistical categories. Field goal percentage, they're not turning the ball over basically at all down after their rocky start, and they've played good defense. So, you know, I think that Mater Dei is going to have to, well, I'm sure they're stepping up and taking notice because they're going to have to make some adjustments quickly.
Well, should be a very entertaining second half. Mater Dei trying to reach the semifinals of Division 1A, but right now the top seed has their 29-game winning streak at stake. They trail by 6. We'll be back with the second half tip-off right after this.
Buckling up. 2 guys have lost more limbs than a tree surgeon. Vince and Larry.
I love these guys. They remind me of my husband. Always broken in a dead-end job.
By getting people to buckle up, they've saved thousands of lives. On the job, what's the first thing that goes through their heads? The steering wheel!
Vince and Larry, tell me, how do you want your coffee? Regular or decapitated?
Everybody give them a hand.
You could learn a lot from a downturn. Buckle your safety belt.
Welcome back to Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach, California. Paul Westfall along with Phil Bellamo. We're about ready to start the third quarter of an action. An amazing second quarter for the Monarchs. They led 15-13 at the end of 1, but then went 6 minutes without a basket, finally scoring with about 2 minutes to go in the quarter. And then a basket that was allowed at the buzzer for Augustine on a very controversial call. And boy, that was a tough call. It could have gone either ways, but the Monarchs got the benefit of the call as it was ruled Augustine did get the shot away to end the half. It's 29-23. Augustine with 10 for the Monarchs leads all scorers, but Moore has 9 for Rowland. Phil Bellamo, you were perusing the stat sheet at the half, and what jumped out at you?
Well, number one, I stand corrected. The turnover situation, as much as they haven't had what seems to be critical turnovers, the 2 turnovers belong to Mater Dei for the half, and Rowland has 9 for the game. But even so, you look at the numbers, and like we said at the half, 52% field goal shooting for Rowland. Mater Dei, a paltry 24%, 7 of 29. The 8 block shots, Mater Dei, no block shots. And the thing about block shots is it gets the crowd into the game. It just picks things up in so many ways.
Turnover off the inbound pass to start the third quarter. DeRamos thought about it and missed. Good box out by Vukovic. Mater Dei down by 6. Traditionally, the Monarchs a very good third quarter team, especially on those rare occasions when they're down at the half.
Lob.
High lob for for Augustine, but he had to catch it and come back with it, and therefore Moore was able to intimidate.
3 on 2, 3 on 1.
Back the other way, that's DeRamos with a basket. 6 points for Neil DeRamos.
Well, when Kevin gets run off the high pick for the lob play, he's going to get sucked into the interior. Mater Dei has to rotate out, and they were a little slow.
Here's Scott with a steal. Augustine steals it back.
Big play by Kevin.
3 on 2 the other way. The ball almost went in off a tip, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Rowland, but what a bizarre play that was. Augustine nearly got a 3-point basket off a tipped pass.
I think the biggest key, the third quarter is always the most important quarter of the basketball game. The key for Mater Dei is they have to stay into the game. They cannot get emotional. They can't start, second-guessing their actions and so on and so forth, which is hard to do because it's now or never. You lose tonight, it's not 1-0 in a best-of-5 or best-of-7 series.
Except for Augustine's 4 of 10 first-half shooting, the rest of the Monarchs were just 3 of 19 as a team, and that just can't continue. Somebody's got to make one. Castleton from 12.
Well, following orders.
David's first basket of the contest. It's a 31-25 game. Now it's up to the Mater Dei defense to shut down the Raiders.
There's Williams out on the perimeter.
Moore inside. He's going to score if you're going to let him get the ball down that close to the basket, and he's got 11.
Well, when Williams comes away from the basket and it leaves Vukovic inside one-on-one, Mike is not going to be able to gamble. He's going to have to play solid position defense on the interior.
Vuk turns, drives, lays it in. Strongest move of the game for Mike Vukovic inside, and it's a 6-point Rowland lead.
And a pretty up and under by Mike.
High arching runner, no good, and Vukovic above the crowd gets the rebound, and Castaneda commits his 3rd personal foul. Now there are 2 Raiders with reasonable foul trouble, Scott with 3 and Castaneda with 3.
And those are the kind of fouls, Mike Vukovic had possession of the ball. So what do you really come away with? I mean, for the most part, you should be running in defensive transition to get back on defense. Those are the ones, they really grate you if you're a coach.
Mater Dei trailing by 6, 5:39 left to play here in the third quarter. Augustine tried to draw the 4th on Castaneda, but the officials say no harm done. Castleton double teamed, gets it back. Good quick hands by DeRamos. Williams nearly loses it. So one thing I've noticed about Rowland is they're very active with their hands defensively, challenging a lot of passes. Castleton off the back rim, no good. Williams with a strong offensive rebound, and it's Augustine drawing a foul on either Castaneda or DeRamos. Let's see, foul's on number 10. That's on Najarro, and I didn't even see him in the mix, but that's the first foul on Najarro. That's the second team foul on Rowland. Rowland, if you just joined us, the 3rd seed out of the Sierra League, which includes teams like Ayala, Nogales, and West Covina. And so far, the number 3 team from the Sierra League has been quite a match for the South Coast number 1. Vallis on a drive, finds Vukovic, and Vuk is snuffed by Moore. Excellent recovery by Moore to shut down the attempt of Vukovic.
6 blocks for Terrence.
With the basketball is DeRamos. Inside to Moore. 12-footer short. Vukovic can't get the rebound. Moore goes up strong, lays it up, no good. Battle for the rebound. Last touch by Mater Dei. It'll be out of bounds to Rowland, but excellent work by Moore to stay with it.
He certainly missed the chippy there.
Pickett in the corner, bothered by Vallis. Tried to pass it to the cutter. Castleton couldn't. Vukovic with a rejection. Castleton busts out. It's 3-on-2. David takes it all away. Somebody hit the net on the way to the basket. And we're going to get a pushing foul against one of the Raiders. And Gary McKnight saying the same thing I am. Somebody grabbed the net on the layup attempt. But they're going to say that the foul is on DeRamos. That's his first personal. Third team foul on Rowland. At 4:22 to play in the third, and things getting a little bit tense here in Ocean View High School as the Monarchs still 6 down halfway through the third.
Watch Tommy Lippold maybe to come off a little back screen here for the jumper.
Lippold. They've got Augustine posted up on the baseline. Now Kevin comes out, goes crossover, drives, draws a foul from Moore. Augustine going up strong. That's the first foul I have on Terrence Moore. Going to the line will be Augustine. Kevin 1 for 2 from the foul line tonight. Tony Scott's going to come back into the game in between foul shots. And Kevin's free throw misses.
Take a look at Kevin here. Quick move to the baseline. Moore comes across with the volleyball block. Great elevation, great power by Moore. But it also shows Kevin's tenacity to get to the free throw line.
Augustine makes 1 of 2 and has 11 points on the night. It's 33-28. If you've just joined us, Rowland has led since the start of the second quarter when they held Mater Dei without a basket for 6 minutes of period number 2.
And we talked about early in the first half, Mater Dei having a big possession. This is one for Rowland.
Shot no good, and Castleton goes to the rebound off the miss by Najarro, and David comes out of there. Finds Augustine. Lippold on the baseline. Tom has had a tough time getting any shots off. Castleton from 17. That's short, and the rebound is grabbed by Moore. Number 22 is Cintron. That's Scott. Shot's partially blocked by Vukovic, but is recovered by Rowland in the corner. On top, they'll start it again with Najarro. Tony Scott with the basketball, guarded by Vallis. Rowland very patient on offense. They haven't rushed very many shots at all tonight. And almost every possession, they've got a pretty good look at things. This is Pickett traveling. Virgil Sanders on the call, has Pickett for the quick hop. Out of bounds to Mater Dei. Only 4 points for Rowland in 5 minutes here in the third quarter, but the Monarchs with only 5.
And if I might add, 4 points early for Rowland. They've hit the skids, so to speak.
Monarchs need a basket here. Augustine says, I'll try from 12. No good. Battle for the rebound. Tipped by Augustine out of bounds. No. They're going to say it's Mater Dei basketball, and that brings Tim Surridge up off his seat at the Rowland bench.
Sure appeared Kevin Augustine got almost kind of punched the ball.
Monarchs with the possession. Lippold on the drive, blocked by Moore. You're just not going to get that there, and I think Lippold's going to get called for a pushing foul going for the rebound. But you're just not going to be able to be lazy on your way to the basket. Lippold tried to smooth that one in there, and Moore said, not this way.
Well, you know, Paul, if we take this whole conversation to another level, so many people wondered how in the world could Manute Bol exist in the NBA for so many years. Mark Eaton, same thing. Blocked shots change games. They just become defensive factors in and of themselves, and that's definitely what Terrence Moore has done.
Moore turning, bank, score, foul on Williams. Pretty move by Terrence Moore.
And you factor in that he's putting some points up, and he has just been a bad dream for Gary McKnight, Dave Taylor, Jason Quinn, Jeff Andrade.
Foul on Lippold is Tom's first, and he'll leave the game. Vukovic back in. Mater Dei down 7. We've played almost 6 minutes of the third quarter, and the Monarchs have not made a dent in this Rowland lead. There's a good look at Terrence Moore. Free throw on the way is perfect, and Moore beginning to play with a great deal of confidence, has 14 points to lead all scorers. It's 36-28, an 8-point lead for Rowland. Vukovic goes up strong and scores and draws another foul. That foul is going to be on Pickett, I believe. Yes, it is, and that's 3 on Pickett.
You know, we talked about Terrence Moore's quickness with his feet in the first half, and I had mentioned when he got the deflection and he tipped it out of bounds that if he doesn't make that play, it's a dunk for Vukovic. That time he didn't make the play. He went for the steal, didn't make it, there was nobody home. Vukovic gets to the free throw line, chance for a 3-point play.
Mike at the free throw line, limited attempts this year, just a 56% foul shooter. Got it.
Looked good there.
Yes, indeed. 3-point play at a very opportune time for Mater Dei. Applause from Coach McKnight on the sidelines, and it's 36-31. Rowland with the lead. There's a ball tipped into the backcourt so they can recover it. Traveling, though, against Josh Cintron. Coach Tim Surridge has a look of disbelief. He's not quite sure how that wound up being traveling. 2:02 to play in the third quarter. Rowland playing the #1 seeded Monarchs to a standstill here. Rowland by 5. Inside pass to Vukovic. Vukovic guarded by Moore. Spins, finds Vallis. Jason thought about the 16-footer, but forgot about it. And then Scott foul over the back on Williams. And if that's, I've got Scott with 4. And with 1:46 to go in the third, Phil Bellamo, Tim Surridge has got to take his point guard out.
Yeah, that full strength, Rowland's got their work cut out for them. And I know they're up 5 points, but you know Mater Dei has 1 and possibly 2 runs left. But without Tony Scott, it's even worse. Vukovic
draws another foul from Moore. And Mike will go back to the free throw line, and it looks like Vuk has decided, Phil, that he's going to put on a couple of moves and see if Moore can stay with him.
Yeah, and the other thing I like about Mike's game now is he's catching the ball and he's waiting. You know, he's not in so much of a hurry. He's feeling where the defender is. He's made a good up and under move. He's been a lot more deliberate, kicked the ball out. Much, much better play by Mike Vukovic.
Free throw is no good. Monarchs 10 of 15 unofficially from the foul line, and in and out. Mater Dei fails to cut into that 5-point Rowland lead with 1:30 to go in the third.
We talked about Tony Scott's height, and we'll get to talk about it a little bit more.
Yes, we will. We'll keep it right here. We've got a timeout on the court. It's a Rowland timeout with 1:29 to play in the third, our score. It's the Rowland Raiders 36 and the Mater Dei Monarchs 31. You're watching the defending state champion Mater Dei Monarchs on MDTV. Phil?
What I was saying, getting ready to say there, Paul, was in the open we talked about Tony Scott's height and how that, as a point guard, is going to give him such a tremendous advantage. He'll be able to see over double teams. Well, because of the situation Mater Dei finds itself in, Dave Taylor has changed his defense and gone to a half-court trap where they're looking to trap right over the 10-second line. There's no Tony Scott. Tony Scott sits on the bench because of 4 fouls, and now we leave it to Pickett, smaller guards who the double team is going to be more effective against, and that we should watch that, and we should also watch how long the temptation is for the Rowland coaches to reinsert Tony Scott.
Just to reset for you, 1:29 to play in the third quarter. Mater Dei trails 36-31. They led 15-13 at the end of the quarter. Trailed by 6 at the half, and even at that they were fortunate because the basket at the buzzer was allowed to score, and it would have been an 8-point game. In the meantime, Mater Dei came out in the third quarter, hasn't done a whole lot offensively. They've played well defensively, holding Rowland to just 7 points, but offensively, Phil, still just 8 points in the quarter for Mater Dei.
Here's the double.
There's a kick by Williams. It'll be brought in back here in the front court by Rowland with 1:23 left.
Modern Day should have their way up top with the double teams, but what they have to be so careful against is Chris Castaneda roaming the baseline, sneaking behind the defense, getting his feet set, and hitting the big jump shot.
Monarchs trapping. Vallis with a near steal. DeRamos, no good. Battle for the rebound, and it's Castleton who clears for Mater Dei. 1:05 left in the quarter. Monarchs trying to cut into that lead. This is Augustine. Pickett challenging the passing lanes. Augustine from about 25.
Big shot. Big shot.
36-30 fold onto this 2-point lead.
There's
Monarchs challenging. Double team trap. Steal. Vukovic. Vuk's got Castleton and Augustine coming to the rescue. Mater Dei has it with 36 seconds left. One shot, Phil Bellamo.
One shot if Pickett doesn't come away with that steal.
30 seconds to go.
Back cut.
Augustine slicing, layup, no. Williams, no. Brad loses it. Moore has it. 20 seconds to go. Here comes Rowland with a chance.
What great composure by Rowland. Great play by Pickett.
Moore on the low box from 10. No good. Williams with a strong rebound, and the Monarchs have a chance if they hurry. 6 seconds to go. Vukovic ahead of the pack. No. Vallis, no.
Oh.
And the quarter will come to an end. That's the end of a wild third quarter. Our score from Ocean View High School in this Division 1A quarterfinal matchup. It's Rowland 36 and Mater Dei 34. We will be back with all the fourth quarter action right after this.
Penetrate, sector 4. Range, 26 miles. Heading, 340.
This guy can fly. Okay, bang. We got him on the Roz.
He's trying to target us.
Jam him.
He's fast, he knows. Okay, he fired.
So did we. He's pulling a 7G turn out of here.
Space technology of the 21st century. It's here, now, in the Air Force. Aim high. Air Force.
Welcome back to Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach, California. Paul Westfall and Phil Bellamo, glad you could be along for a wild one. Rowland leads 36-34 with just 8 minutes of basketball left.
And Tony Scott starts the fourth quarter. You know, Rowland comes away with 7 points in that third quarter. If they think that they can beat Mater Dei by beating the clock, by just trying to evaporate the clock, they've got another thing coming. They are going to have to win this game with the same offensive attack that they had that got them the lead to begin with.
Moore underneath scores with a power move. That's 16 for Terrence Moore to lead Rowland, and the lead is 4 for the Raiders. Nice possession out of that. The break in the action. Good coaching by Tim Surridge. Augustine on the baseline. Score.
And right there, no Rowland defender came across the help. Someone's got to come and shut the baseline, force the kick out, and make them take the shot as opposed to David or Kevin Augustine shooting the layup.
Looked like a double dribble by Najarro, and so did Coach McKnight agreed with me, but nonetheless, play continues. Castleton with a near interception. Mater Dei trapping on the wings.